a really serious issue. And I think it's important for people to understand that suicide is never about wanting to die. Yeah? It's about wanting to feel some kind of relief and wanting to believe that change is really possible and that I could feel better. I could wake up in the morning and feel better. And that is especially important when we think about children and teenagers during this COVID-19 pandemic.
Now, that is true. That is true. And these youths, these children, they have to deal with peer pressure. They have to deal with bullying. They have to deal with experimenting in drugs, like that. I heard the peer pressure thing is, and all these things kind of culminate in the mind, and the relief is not there. That's the most important thing. The relief is not there. Since it's COVID-19, there's no cinema, right? There's no party. There's no beach going. There's no football. All these recreational activities that assist in keeping their minds together and keeping them thinking about different things and offering a solution or offering another way to deal with it. These things are not there. So they sit and pine away, in these things, and that could be devastating.
And because of that, I feel like it's really important that family and community members understand what are the signs of suicidal behavior and suicidal thoughts. And it's some basic stuff, It's about any sudden changes that you notice in a person. Sudden changes in appetite, sudden changes in sleeping habits, sudden changes in the way they interact with people that they normally interact with. Is this child or teen suddenly accumulating objects and materials and substances in their room that they can use to harm themselves? And what is really key is if this child or teen is actually verbalizing, actually saying, I don't want to live anymore, or I don't see any point in living, right? Or if they actually write something to that effect, or post something on social media, or drop a comment, or even put up a picture on their WhatsApp profile or their story that sends a message like that, it should never be overlooked.
As a matter of fact, the first sign should be seen, observed, and acted on, right, from the first sign. Because one of the most important things is the community, right? So the family is important, but the community is more important then, right? Because your child live at you, but then they confide in other persons. You must pay attention to that. You must pay attention to who they confide in, who you feel can get information from them, whether it be a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer, a friend, right? A cousin, an aunt. Some people, it's so strange that you don't know what this person could do to save your child. Right? So sometimes you have to depend on the community, or you depend on other persons, and that I could tell you, that could save a life. That could save a life.
That's true, and while the show of support and love and concern from a known person to the child can bring about a big change, we have to know that there are some cases that are what we call high risk. Yeah? And that means that child or that teen is going to need professional and specialized help immediately. Yeah? And the whole situation must also be treated with in a sensitive and private manner, because it could heighten the symptoms if it is not. Yeah? And some of the organizations that a family member or community member could reach out to for support are the Children's Authority Hotline, the Suicide Prevention Hotline, and if someone has inflicted harm on himself or herself, or they have expressed it in a detailed way, you can call the ambulance service and they can take that person to the emergency room. Yeah? And I want to say that the Opening Lotus is always here to listen and to guide. We are closely connected with a network of resources, so phone us and we will be able to give some support.